This is the 217 Recovery Podcast with Corey Winfield and his better half, Marney Winfield.
Yo, what you doing? I was just calling to see what's up. See if you want to hang out for a bit. Alright, later.
That's a pretty creepy, though, voice message.
You think? I think it was nice.
Hey, what are you doing? It's voicemail. It's not going to be like, nothing, bro, just hanging out. You want to kick it? I don't know. Justin hosting the meeting tomorrow, NA meeting, on our app. 217 Recovery app. That's right. Go to your app store. Not the Wix one. That's like a website app. I apologize for making it all confusing. Not really. The more the merrier. But yeah, if you got an app and you got the knowledge, download the app from whatever Google Play Store, your Apple Store, the App Store. And 7 p.m. tomorrow, you just click the little link. Boom. And you're there. If you're nice and you're like, man, because Paul was on the meeting the other day and he's like, I don't have a phone, man. All I got's my laptop. All right. So I sent him a link to it and he could join on his laptop. But it's kind of fun and convenient just to have a meeting right there on your app.
Yeah.
Right there on your phone. Speaking of the app, I'm going to talk about this real quick before I talk about my day. My crazy, hard day. The app, I've been spending a lot of time uploading old podcasts. And today I found out an easier way to do it, but still, it takes a lot of time. You have over 400 podcasts that you have to put on there. But it's interesting. I listened to some of them from the early days, and you could tell it was early. You know, obviously now we have better microphones. We have a better place to do it. But back then, man, it was so basic, and it was so raw, and it was so real. And I don't know, not that I miss those days, but I know I miss Rob. You know, when Matt would do them with us, he was kind of funny. And I'm not like I say, I don't miss those days, but I'm fond of those days. Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure. You've grown and you got to start somewhere.
But it's a look back and I'm not ashamed of it. You know, for the first time you can look back in the past and go, yeah, no, not every day was great. And sure, I made some mistakes here and there, but I'm not ashamed of it. And those are fond memories.
For sure.
So that's something I didn't really think about when I started my road on recovery, that's another plus. You know, we can look back at our sober, clean time and how we got there. And it's fun. You know, those memories for me were really good. And if you had asked me if you took a time machine and went back 2 years to today, I'm like, man, I hate living with all these dudes. I need to get up out of here. Like sober living, it's driving me crazy. I mean, I probably would have said all those things. But looking back, it's such a fond memory. And maybe it's because I'm sober, you know, and I used to, and maybe sometimes still do, when that notion of drinking pops in my head. You know, it's like it creates this beautiful picture of how great it was. But then you start looking at it, and that really wasn't great. So like those memories, they weren't good ones. And you just kind of got to jump through the spider webs in your brain to remind yourself of that. Like, oh yeah, when you ended up in the hospital, you mean that kind of good buzz on a Sunday? Yeah, that was real fun, wasn't it? No.
Yeah.
Where as I look back at sober living, it's like, you know what? Those were good days. And those, yeah, did I have to clean a toilet for a bunch of dudes? Sure. Did I have to go to meetings every Monday? Sure. Did I have to do a bunch of meetings? Yeah. I do things I didn't want to do? All the time.
Yep.
That's not bad. You know,
right?
That's just the I want to and I need to kind of situation that you have to juggle in your mind. But anyway, check out the app though. And 2019, I think I have April, which is when we started, May and June all published. And then 2020, I only threw one on there. just to create it, just to be like, okay, it's there. Keep waiting.
See, but it's work in progress, so that's good.
Yeah, but when I have it all done, it'll be nice and it'll be easy for people to go listen to whatever. I mean, you can listen to whatever, whenever, right now too. But I don't know, a lot of people are probably like, you're kind of wasting your time doing that, because people can go to the website and listen on iHeartRadio or Apple, but Apple only goes back so far. So that's what I did, and then I feel like I'm hogging the microphone from you.
Oh, you're doing fine.
We had dinner with our friends Ron and Janice the other day, and Ron has a podcast as well called Radio Days, and I was on it. He had me as a guest, and it went pretty well. I had to do a lot of digging up old demos and old tapes to listen to them, and I was afraid to at first, and then I listened to them, and then I was like, wow, I really was freaking awesome. But I was afraid, like, was I good, or was I just drunk and thought I was good? You know, like when I would listen to them back, or I don't know. I was afraid, but no, they were pretty good demos though. There was pretty good stuff on there. It makes me laugh, and that's all that really matters to me. So, you know, I was proud of that. So Ron and I hooked up this week. He went with us, and Ron says, "Man, how do you put up with being the co-host of that show? You know, the 217 Recovery Podcast. You don't even ever get to talk." And then his wife Janice was like, "Yeah, like you just have to pick your time and just go, huh?" Or something like that.
I know, but you're the host, so I'm okay with it.
Yeah, but Ron said, because when I did his podcast, we did it over Zoom, and that's how we recorded it. And he was like, "Man, I could just see it. Like, you wouldn't even be looking at anything. Like, when you're telling a story, like, you're, like, involved, man. Like, you're in there." And I'm like, yeah, it's kind of how I do on the podcast, too.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to have to every so often, but you got anything?
Just in case I chime in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or like, I don't want you to raise your hand. That's childish.
Right.
Very. But, you know, if there's anything, you just...
Okay. Got it.
Show me some skin. I meant that. Anyway, the podcast I was on today was Robert Pardon. Mm-hmm. And he hosts the podcast. He calls himself the radio guy. Or the recovery guy.
Oh, okay.
And he's, what did he say? He just turned 67. He's got 35 years of sobriety. And we were kicking it for probably about 45 minutes before we even started his podcast.
Wow.
I know, and we like went through a lot of the stuff. So when we started doing the podcast, I kind of felt like I was repeating myself a lot. But we were just kind of kicking it, and it was a good time. I messed up a lot, but it's gonna happen.
What does that even mean? I don't know. Can you? That.
You know how I do.
Oh, wow.
So, but you know, he talked about like recovery houses and like purpose and hope, and those things go a long way. Hope and finding a purpose, and just when you actually 100% are good with, I can never do drugs again. Mm-hmm. You know, that's a big one too. And I thought that kind of falls under the line of acceptance, you know, and told him how I didn't really like to be called an alcoholic, you know, and just some things. He's a real big AA guy. He's a big step guy, and that's cool, you know, and he says he doesn't apologize for anything. You know, we talked about, it feels like there's a lot more kid gloves being put on when you're dealing with people now, because you don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. People didn't give a shit. That was just a few years ago. Maybe I was around the right people. I don't know, but there was no kid gloves with me, man. And I'm glad, you know, I wasn't going to get away with anything. You know, I was going to throw it back on someone. It's your fault. You know, I had to try that once with my mom, and then I realized very quickly that, nope, it was my fault. Mm-hmm. I'm the one who picked up the bottle, and I'm the one who drank. Yeah, but she made me mad. No, you might not agree with her actions or whatever, but you made yourself mad.
Right.
Were you upset that you guys had an agreement and it didn't work out? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Were you hurt? No, but I really wanted to use it like I was hurt. You know, I really wanted, that was an excuse for me. How could you do that? We had an agreement.
Yeah, but if we don't have somebody else to blame, then, I mean, at least that's like when I used to look for something else, some kind of validation for what it was, is because if I just said, because I don't know why, and because I wanted to, the answer really is because I'm an alcoholic. That's why I picked back up. Mm-hmm. That's why I did it. You know, there were things, circumstances surrounding that moment that made it easier for me to make that decision, because I didn't think through things. And when you're in that kind of, you know, mind space, that's when it's dangerous. That's why when they say, like, if you're having those, like, what do they call it? Squirrely? If you're squirrely, you know, like your brain's not in the right place and you're like kind of impulsive and angry or irritated. Those are all not good places to be when, you know, there's always a decision to make. Don't do it or do it. And, you know, the thing that I'm grateful for is as I get more time sober, you know, I'm able to recognize myself when I get in those spaces. And I know that there's no way that drinking will fix how I'm feeling. And there's no way that there's any sort of resolution by going back out. Because things, and it's funny, we were talking about this a lot today. My new supervisor, she's amazing. Her name's Paula. And she's really big into 12 steps. She's really big into the AA fellowship. And, you know, but we, you know, talk about how whatever pathway works for you, man, you know, whatever drives you, whatever keeps you sober, you know, we support that and we support you. And the fact that that's, you know, that's your choice. But it's funny, she's saying, like, I didn't want to, you know, she's talking about her own recovery and how she's like, the last thing I wanted to do was go to a meeting every day when I was in early in recovery. But you know what? She's like, I did it because that's what I needed to do. And it's good for people that are in early recovery to hear that, you know, somebody who's actually in charge and their job is, you know, working with people that are in early recovery and saying, like, I know, man, I know that it's frustrating and I know that it seems tedious and, you know, a waste of time because, you know, you could be doing so many more different things. It's like, no, this is what we need to do right now. This is what our focus should be. And she'll say like little cliche things that they say in the fellowship, but she always uses this voice when she's saying them, like kind of like mocking it, but it's not, because she's saying the reason why I said, why do you do that? You know, why do you say like, play the tape forward? And it's not like she's making fun of the actual words. She's saying because she would hear it and she knew that made sense. So many times, you know, we hear things and they actually make sense, but we're not ready to process that there's so much truth that, like, I need to follow that rule. I need to play the tape forward. And because I know where drinking gets me and there's nothing good comes of it. I'll be right back where I started or worse. Mm-hmm.
Unless you're not at that stage. You don't really have a problem yet. You're just here because some bad luck, and you know I'm not like the rest of them. I'm still gonna smoke pot. I'm gonna dance around the situation, and yeah, it might come back to haunt me. Yeah, it might not, but I really don't have a problem. I'll prove it. I'll show them. Mm-hmm. I was there once.
You know what's cool though when you're talking to people that are early in recovery, and you know you ask them, they'll open up a little bit. And you're asking them, hey, just, you know, how's everything going with you or whatever. And this one kid, well, he's not a kid, young adult, I don't know, early 30s adult. Anyhow, I don't know. I don't know how
you're
old.
old.
He is. No, anyhow, he was saying how he was doing, and he said, and it was a very simple answer and very to the point. And he just said, I'm doing really good. He said, you know, this is the longest I've ever been clean, and I think he's only like a month and a half. And he said, I didn't think I could ever live like this. And he said, I just, you know, do my thing every day. And he said, I don't want for anything, and I'm happy. Done. Drop the mic. Like, that was it. And I was just like, oh my gosh, you know, because he wasn't making up anything. He wasn't trying to impress anybody. I'm doing so great. Things are amazing. Life is unfolding before my very eyes. It's just like, this is it, and I'm doing good. You know, I'm doing as good as I can. Very humble, and little progress like that, you know, is huge. So, I don't know. It's like little things like that I love.
Did you give him the news? It gets better.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You're probably like, yeah, I'm sure it will. And you like, no.
It really
you
does.
have no idea how much better your life is going to get.
Mm-hmm.
Everything in your life. And that's what I love about AA and the promises. You know, it's just like everything in there is so true. And beyond my wildest belief, you know, I'm living this life that I thought was never possible. Thought I was going to just die and lonely, miserable person. Pain. It's a painful death. Mm-hmm. And here I am. I got a beautiful wife. I got a kitty cat who loves me. Both of them do. And I don't know. Things are just going. And I have to remind myself sometimes that I have to keep going, you know, because I have big dreams. I know I talk about it all the time, but I can make all that happen. You know, I can do anything I want when I'm sober. Mm-hmm. And everybody can. You know, as long as you're sober, you can do anything you want. Oh, but I got to go to a meeting. Man, stop looking at it like that. Flip it. You know, have fun at your meetings. If there's 10 people in there that are just grouch asses, who cares? You know, let them be grouch asses. Have some fun. Or they're going to get mad at me. That's on them. If they want to feel mad all day because you come to a meeting with a smile on your face and you want to have a little fun, that's on them. That's up to them to decide how they feel. Mm-hmm. Don't let those people bring you down. And make it what you want. Get what you want out of it. And it'll change the way you think about meetings. Mm-hmm. And then you start looking forward to going to meetings. And you'll go to meetings and people will be happy that you are there. And when you walk in, they're going to be like, thank God, you know, I was hoping some fresh air would come in and boom, here you come. And some people will come in and they'll roll their eyes. And that used to, like, I used to like that. I'd come into the meeting and they'd be like, oh, Jesus, what's Corey going to do today?
What's in your bag of tricks?
Mm-hmm. I'd say nothing, you know, and then I'd drop some, like, real life stuff on them, you know, that I was going through, and they'd be like, wow, okay, we get it, you know, like, mm-hmm. he can be serious, but he can also have a lot of fun, so made meetings great for me. I met some really good people.
For sure.
And tomorrow I'm going to meet somebody from Goodwill.
Oh.
Yeah, that'll be fun. I just get like a real sense of, not accomplishment, but I love meeting new people who are a piece of the recovery puzzle. And some people would think, well, Goodwill's not a piece of the recovery puzzle. Oh, yes, it is. Mm-hmm. You know, I was dropping a friend off today at a place, and there's a lot of people around that could use some help.
Yeah.
And am I going to be the one to help them? I don't know. Not sure. But why not try? You know, why not give them an option? You know, if you can save one person out of 100, well, that's one more than you had before. Right. And that one person can, maybe they're better at it. Maybe they can save 5 people out of 100. Mm-hmm. And then those people, all 5 of those save 5 people. I mean, it can spread like wildfire, really. Mm-hmm. So that one person who you could be thinking, oh, you're going to do all that for one person? Yeah. You never know, man. It trickled down the line to me somehow. You know, and just giving it back. And that's something that Robert, when I was on his podcast today, which is going to air on Friday. I'll post a link to all that stuff later. But he said that he could tell just by listening to our podcast and following us and stuff that I'm the kind of guy who I sincerely want to help people. I was like, yeah, kind of do. And he said it really shows. And, you know, he's a cool guy. And he has so much, like I said, we talked for so long before we did the podcast, but just him saying that kind of stuff really kind of makes me feel good. And it wasn't like he was trying to flatter me. It wasn't like it was anything like that. He was sincere when he said the things he did, and it was very cool.
That's awesome. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. So what's on your plate again today? What's going on? What are you doing today? Pretty.
I can't wait for the weather to be nice again. It's like super draining on me when it's all like gray and like it's wannabe spring, but it's not. And
see, do you think? Because I've heard that when it's gray and cloudy, that people drink more, but I don't think so.
I don't know, man.
For drinking, I guess that's dumb. Anything, snow, rain, wind, no wind,
sunny days,
clouds,
yeah,
sunny, cloudy day with a little bit of rain and some snow mixed in. It all can make you drink. So that's kind of. But I mean, the seasonal depression. Mm-hmm. I mean, I guess that's a real thing, right?
Yeah.
Somebody said it on TV once.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and I mean, I'm sitting in my office and I have a window and it was just all like dark.
Beautiful.
And no. It's just gray and yucky.
It's beautiful.
You're weird.
I am.
No, it was an okay day though. I had a couple meetings and like I said, it's always good to hear back when people are doing well and moving forward in their program and their recovery journey. So yeah.
Good.
That's not very eventful other than that.
Huh. All right, well, that's what you got to do. I just want to remind people, too, that we do have resources on the website. And a buddy of mine who, I don't know why I didn't tell him. I mean, maybe I did. But if you've gotten out of jail, you have a felony, get out of prison, whatever, there are resources. It's hard, to get back in society and, go try to rent an apartment.
Yeah.
Good luck. And that's just very unfortunate because you supposedly went into jail to do your time. You should be forgiven. Then you get out and boom, you're hit with a bunch of other stuff because of who you were 2 years ago, a year ago, 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's just messed up. I mean, yeah, some crimes, sure. But I think those people are in there for a lot more than a couple of years and a lot more than just, some drug stuff. But anyway, resources will help you on our website. They're pretty good. One of them is called Reentering, something like that. Reentry. You'll see it if you go to our website. And then the other one is something similar. But it's at 217recovery.com. Go to the resources. There's a little drop down and go to help services. And then scroll down and you'll find all that good stuff. So just wanted to hit that up one more again.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for listening to the 217 Recovery Podcast. Sorry, I think we're both a little tired tonight, and it was a long weekend. Mm-hmm. So keep checking our app, though. Join us for a meeting tomorrow. If you want to just say hey, if you just want to listen, it's going to be an open meeting. They're all open meetings on our app, so maybe you're listening because you're trying to figure out a loved one and what they're doing and what's going on. Join us. NA is tomorrow. So, 7 o'clock, get the 217 Recovery app.
Through the app.
And hit the meetings, and you'll be good to go.
Yeah.
All right, thanks for listening, and we'll talk to you on Thursday.
Night, everybody.
Stay sober.